explanation which, of course, all of you are this one. See, normally during that transient period, immunity definitely there will be, though it may not be a very significant drop in our immunity or immunosuppression, but that particular period. So virus takes an upper hand, it depends on our immunity also. So that, so in the lab we have proved, but within in IMO, that has to be proven.
Say first time it is explained, the vision has to be given on a laboratory only. And it is expressed in all ancient sciences. It is having a marvelous effects. So we have to encash it actually. So that I took an opportunity to vaccinate the animal. Different 50 hips and 50 goats were vaccinated in three sections. Okay, one is before, one is the control group, another is one morta, another is another morta. One is good morta, one is bad morta. Animals were vaccinated. And 0 to 21 to 100 days blood samples were collected and antibiotics were measured. What else proof we want actually? We injected the animal in one time. 50 animals in one time, another 50 animals in another time, another is not vaccinated. Control group. So collecting the samples, blood samples after 21 days and 100 days, we measured the titers of the antibiotics.
I think the same thing should be extended to human vaccination also.
Yeah, and not only this, I vaccinated the how also. No animals generated a good potential.
Oh, okay.
Immunity was very low, antibody titers were very low. Those animals which were vaccinated during but nobody believes this. This
Now there
evidence
is
is there.
scientific evidence.
So the correlation factor is the second part.
And we repeated this 3 times in different forms also. Because once it cannot be a chance factor. So in 3 different forms, we repeated the same experiment.
And the most important thing is he didn't go and inject himself. Somebody else has done
Yes,
it.
yes,
All scholars on the all the
It's a
scientists.
network.
So there is no bias.
Yeah.
No prejudice, no bias.
Yeah, that's the nice. To establish a new fact, we should be unbiased. Yeah, that is there. So, and more than that, actually, when time behaves like a variable, we can verify the validity even in the vaccinations as well as the production of the virus doses and as well as the bacterial doses. So, what is the concentration of virus being procured and what is the concentration in this? All these things are quite evidence. So, then afterwards, you can see what is the time dimensional effects. Okay. It's not only one time you have established it, but every 2 hours there is a major changes in the quality of the time. Time behaves like a heterogeneous factor. It's not homogeneous. So that is the one thing which once establishes, then these factors can be slowly introduced. And we wrote in the Nature Journal itself. Because we know that this has got hitting search actually. So we wrote in the Nature Journal, 3 papers we wrote.
This book available in the
Yeah, it's available.
In fact, this is one aspect of
States
it.
from the states.
Other aspect is the beneficial effect of this. We have also done that, whether we can grow a particular bacteria or to prepare a vaccine to have high titer. During the particular day, how to, if we infect the titer, that also is a part of his thesis. So we have been able to produce high titer during a particular period between 1 and 3, I think, every day. If we inoculate at 1 o'clock, very high titer. And we have done it from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. During that period only, very high titer we get.
We waited even in the night and we did it.
I tell you one more thing. He has a time when, for doing medical procedures, surgery, that is the best time. Invariably, most patients before they undergo surgery, they choose the date and time.
Yeah.
They will the doctor that we want this. And he has a scientific basis for that. You do the surgery at this time, the outcome is going to be better.
Yeah.
Because no doctor will say before surgery that everything is going to be 100% fine. We take a concern saying that, the chance of this complication, that everything can happen.
One more evidence I'll give you. I had undergone surgery here. He had predicted long back. You will have some problem, it could be cancer. He had predicted. Looking into my house this month, I just neglected. Then one day I found a lesion in the tongue. I could diagnose it myself. Then I took immediately a consult, same 2-3 days. I underwent surgery, radiation, everything. Then before undergoing surgery, he said, He said it looks like cancer, it may not be cancer, but there will not be any spread. He had predicted you gave it 3 times to 3 different slabs. There will not be any spread, don't worry. So I gave the lymph node one to 3 different slabs.
Nothing was there. What was the primary lesion? Just ulcer.
It was just ulcer in the initial stage. So immediately I suspected and I went and consulted onco-surgeon. So he said he took the biopsy and then he said it appears to be based on that carcinoma.
Okay.
Then he advised. So I said, okay, go ahead. 5 years over, it's the 6th year.
A lot of things. For example, astrology is actually part of Vedic sciences.
What would be
It's just an extension of Vedanta. So it has to, Vedanta is knowledge, it's not religion, it's more of knowledge.
Yes, yes. And from then onwards, I have been offering at least so many patients can be relieved of this. Because they can be.
No, it is because the science is prevailing since time immemorial. There is no truth. The science cannot establish itself for the whole period of almost time immemorial. There is some content maybe not in order. So I wanted to find how does it comes in an order of life. So is it possible to use it for the benefit of the man? How to use it? That's a question. So I took an opportunity to establish first that the time behaves like a variable. It's not homogeneous. The quality of the time is always important.
And the other thing what you mentioned the other day, like for example, during dream, a big episode appears in a very short span of time.
Yeah.
And once we come out of the dream, because maybe,
The space domain differs.
it's a huge story which has just come in such a narrow space.
Yeah, 10 to 20 milliseconds. We experience, but it express for 1 hour.
Yeah.
So the time dimension is that actually. The quality of the time in dream state is having very short term.
Yes.
As you go to the higher space domain, elevated space domain by means of virtue of silence,
It expands.
it expands.
And somebody told me that when somebody dies, at that moment the Sushma Sharira gets an entire experience, it gets an entire experience of that lifetime. In a fraction of a second, it knows entirely what has happened in the lifetime. I don't know. Because
It is said in the Shastras.
yeah, so somebody mentioned that everything will come,
That's
whatever
why
good, bad you did, whole life experience will be there.
That's why I generated a PPT about this. The decoding
Sir,
is.
I am Dr. Rajesh here. Yeah, Shashi was mentioning about his,
My boss, so there I work with him.
no, he is my colleague, I am not his boss.
The neuroscientist.
Thank you. And joining the card.
So just to decode the Jyotisha, how does it is having its base? We have to decide.
Okay. Yes, yeah, definitely.
So it's a testing fundamentals of concept. Everything to Jyotisha, the science of life. And estimate predictions, experiments, series of experiment results and conclusions. So as we explained, Jyotish is the science of light. Jyoti is both the inner and outer light. Light is the manifesting power of existence. Light is used in measure element of time. This Jyotish is called time science. In the womb of the light, 7 colors are hidden, representing various frequencies of energy. Each color has magnification powers and characteristic frequency carrying the message of the nature. From these 7 colors arises the source of sensory information, the elements, source of all levels of manifestation. Various frequencies fill the division of space. Equally they pertain in the division of the body. Hence comes the Kala Purusha concept, the time personification of the human body. So this is the time personification of the body. So everything is embedded in each structure of the body. It's called actually Kala Purusha. So the second Kala Purusha, the whole space division is divided into 12 divisions. Corresponding to the Mesha Rashi or the Aries sign corresponding to the head and Taurus face. And these are all orderly located. From head to the face, the whole space is covered. And this is another schematic diagram representing the symbolic representations. The astrology is the study of energy quality within the field of time and space. And for our understanding purpose, it is divided into 12 divisions. Majorly 12 divisions. and my 30 27 degrees. It's called nakshatras. So whether it's the broader division is called zodiac signs, and minor division is called nakshatra signs. Their names are mentioned. Always ruled with the planets in the same order as below. After Ketu, Venus, Sun, Moon, Mars, they are all planetary periods. One after the other, it's an order actually. It does not vary. That means the frequency of Ketu is FIR energy, far infrared energy, which generates around 380 trillion vibrations per second, whereas Venus is 700 trillion vibrations per second. After 700, it does not go to the again 600, it goes to the 430 trillion vibrations per second, then 480 trillion vibrations per second. Again, these are all having planetary vibrations with a varied frequency journey.
So this Ketu and Rahu, it doesn't come under the our understanding of solar system.
They are all called the shadow zone planets.
Okay.
They are called shadow zone planets. They do not appear, but they are working at very subtle level.
Oh, they are energy levels.
Yeah, energy levels.
Okay.
And to say Ketu is basically the DNA, it is a DNA polymerase, stimulate the DNA polymerase, as Rahu generates the DNA engine, works on the DNA engine. And Venus works to the 700 trillion vibrations per second, which is related substantially that. The Sun works at the pituitary gland and pineal gland, and Moon of the hypothalamus, Mars at the red nucleus, Rahu of the nucleus, cardiac head, and Jupiter is globus pallidus, and Saturn is Titanus. Rahu can cause a cancer. Ketu is unpredictable. If the cause is located from the divine curse, you cannot, suddenly it happens. You cannot predict. Ketu's prediction nobody can do. Because it is so subtly, it will not allow you to study in advance of it. So that suddenly it appears. Ketu is a very different kind of planet. Nobody understands this. It can be in this world, it can link to all space domains of the world. You can mentally travel to the different space domains of the world. In the sense, you can go to the Indra Loka, Brihaspati Loka, you can go to the Brahma Loka, Chaturmukha Brahma Loka, Aswarupa Brahma. There are different grades of space domains. Ketu people can connect all the space domains at a time. That's the benefit of the Ketu. They are basically angel-like planet. Angel-like. Whereas Rahu is a demon. Okay. So when Rahu is very powerful in the disease house, that is very difficult to do because guilt goes for a mutation and the wrong protein molecule is getting manufactured and it continues to manufacture like a virus. So mutated cells only completely replicate. You cannot handle it into the deeper levels of genes and bring the correction from it. It's very difficult. And if it survives over a period of time, automatically the body improves. That is also the time dimension is important. As I told you, 13 years is our yes. After 13 years over, everything tapers back. Automatically, inside healing starts. No drugs are required. That's why the time-bound programs are going on in the hemisphere. And this is the 12 zodiacs for the purpose of understanding it is in square base, otherwise it is a round base. All the space is oval-shaped, 12 divisions are made. For the purpose of explanation, it is taken as the 12 squares. So each house is mentioned with the planets, the fiery qualities, which planet is very powerful here. In Rishabha, the moon is very powerful. Where moon gets exalted. Here Mercury is very powerful. Here moon is very powerful. Sun is very. So all these things are the type of quality of the space domain. It's a watery sign, it's airy sign. So that means all 5 elements are embedded here. Earlier people had a great knowledge of understanding these things. So hypothesis for me, the science of Ayurveda and Yoga concern subtle energy systems in the body. The science of Jyotisha says that the planets and heavenly mansions project the subtle energy fields.
When you go back to the first one, I'm trying to understand. So these are the 12 zodiac signs and we're using. What is this Jupiter pen? What is that on the right side?
Here.
On the right side.
Yeah.
What is that?
Jupiter is very powerful, highest powerful in this whole chart when Jupiter comes here by 10 degrees. They are all very powerful positions of the planets.
So these are the first two, 1, 2, 3, 4 is all around.
The Mercury is at 15 degrees, if it is there, this man will become a photoflash memory. He will be intelligent, highest intelligent fellow among the competitive world.
This is the 7th house.
Whereas Venus is here, Venus becomes very powerful. That means a person born with the Venus Lagna, this house, and Venus is here, he always will be having treasure at the next to him. Wherever he goes, the treasure falls in either side. He will be richest throughout the life. He cannot become a beggar in the life. That means we are all, master seed program is already there is a plan program that executes around us. So if you know that plan of the master seed program, that is called cosmic intelligence. And probably over that your utilities can be quoted and you can get the benefit maximum. One thing is how much your biomachine is designed to get the comforts. It is the inner master seed program. Over that your mind program you have to apply.
So suppose we say that in Bangalore 10 children are born at the same time.
Yeah.
Will their life course be similar?
Yeah. Even the fraction of second brings a Navamsha differences. There is sharp variations.
Okay.
For a spark of, because the whole globe is moving with the speed of very high speed.
Yeah.
A spark of span of a second
Seconds can make a
brings a difference of variations.
Okay.
But nearest to the truth sustains.
Yeah. So we expect them to have a similar course.
Yeah. You see, so there are two twins were there in the cricket player. Gaikwad, some Madanla, some two Gaikwad, some Australian two players were there.
Marco and this Steve, yeah.
They are almost similar. Little variations.
So we can expect their life course to be more or less similar.
Yes.
Yeah.
But suppose if it is in the cusp, 1 second here he will be here, 1 second here he will be there.
It makes sense.
So this hypothesis, subtle energy fields act in the subtle energy systems and thus influences the biological mechanisms. Jyotish's different time divisions will produce different effects on biological organisms, various subtle energy systems. So all EMs, how does it relate? To better validate the astromedicine field, the Jyotish Ayurveda using the scientific tools experiments were conducted. So these are all PPR, this is a virus actually, and this virus vaccination has been cultured, this virus was cultured. This is another experiment. The first group had 21 sheep and 20 goats were administered PPR vaccine during the Dhanurlagna. Second group, 20 sheep and 20 goats were administered the same vaccine in Makara. And third group with the unvaccinated control group. Control group, Dhanurlagna, Makara, total animals, 0 day, 21 days, serum samples collected and analyzed. So, the body values, how much the body value, and what time they are vaccinated, our time dimension, every fraction of a second was also recorded. So, you can see here, sir. The goats were, there are 41 goats and sheep also. The goat animal numbers, what time they are vaccinated. Okay, and 0 day, 21 days, the body values, serum sample values were read through the language of reading the optic density. So similarly, the tests were conducted, readings are shown. See, this is the control group, 0 day, and this is actually a Makara Lagna, where only 35% of the animals are shown the antibody titers. Whereas in Dhanu Lagna, there is 67%. And after 21 days, this start declining, it is still ascending. And this is in the sheep, this is in the goat. This is in the goat, G is goat, and this is sheep. After 21 days, another experiment, this is not the same experiment, there the vaccination, the antibody titers are coming down. Whereas here it is still increasing. This is another forum experiment. So here, Dhanu Lagna sheep and Dhanu Lagna goat both shows ascending phase. See the difference between these two. Whereas Makara Lagna both declines. That means even after, generally vaccination, the potentiality will sustain till 21 days and then slowly decreases. This is the vaccination effect. But when you do it in Dhanu Lagna, after 21 days still it is showing ascending phase.
So this they affect the antibodies, right?
Antibodies.
IgG.
So what is the Makara Lagna?
That's another time, one time, 2 hours of the time slot in a day. That comes in a Makara Lagna. The Makara Lagna is here, I will show you. So this is Dhanu Lagna, it is increasing production and still increasing. That means you can create a herd immunity very fast here. Okay. And this is experiment 1, 2. These are all readings. Antipotators or shift reading, Rahuka. This is unvaccinated control, this is vaccinated control. The result, antibody response in small domains, good in Dhanu Lagnam, poor in Makara Lagnam, started significant, P value is 0.001. So statistically everything read properly. Summary, the consistency of the same shape and codes. Okay, antibody response in small domains, good in all same thing. Poorer in Rahuka. This is another experiment where the dates are all there in the ICR laboratory, it is gluten virus. There are two methods, co-cultivation method and monolayer infection method. So both the methods were used. Here, Tula Lagnam and Rahuka. When we selected the time dimension is given here and what do we call in terms of astrological things. So here, this is co-cult, this is monolayer. In both the methods, see the next day experiment this is another day experiment, this is another day experiment. So finally, when you read the results, see the difference between the production. In the Rahukala, there is more virus production, whereas Tula has less virus. That means Rahukala supports the virus production. That's why in Rahukala we don't go for the good program. It supports the more virus production. Virus multiplication is very hastened. Like as eclipse time, Rahukala also supports the virus production.
What is the connection between Rahukala and traveling? Many people say that you should not start from house during Rahukala.
In Rahukala, the DNA enzyme get activated.
Okay.
When that is activated more, it requires a nutrition. For its digestibility is required.
Okay.
So it is job of the DNA is to digest the worn out tissue of the nucleotides.
Okay.
Worn out tissue of the nucleotides. If it increases more high, it to digest the good part of the nucleotides, which would bring handicaps.
Right.
If there is no any other food, worn out tissue, it finally acts on the cell itself, the chromosomes itself, and digest the good nucleotides also. Functioning nucleotides will be digested.
So what is one supposed to do during Rahukala?
That's why they should not go for more activity.
Okay, it should be more of a resting phase.
More resting phase.
Yeah. So in our place and for any, even if they want to go outside the house or travel to some place, they say that this is Rahukala, will not do anything during this time. Day before that or after?
Something goes wrong. Handicapness is introduced in all the aspects.
Yeah.
When you read, you don't read properly. When you go for a something action plan, there is something missing.
Okay.
So you might read
generally
wrong.
considered inauspicious.
Rahukala is associated with DNA's enzyme and that basically causes dissolution of cells. Then how come it is relevant? What is the relevance of Rahu and cancer? Because cancer is uncontrolled multiplication of cells.
Hey, this Rahu supports the ultraviolet radiation. So ultraviolet radiation kindles this kind of process. It stimulates, triggers this kind of process. Rahu is basically ultraviolet. It's a poisonous thing that would generate within the cell itself. From the space itself it generates, from without it comes.
UV is one of the carcinogens.
Yeah. No, the whole universe is filled with the energy of the Rahu. It's continuously moving 1.5 hours all over the globe. It goes moving. Suppose, see here. Suppose it starts here. Today is suppose Monday. So 6 to 7:30 is the Rahukala. Okay, that means it depends on the sunrise, right? As sunrise is going on this side, this is moving like this. So this remains there only, but different country passes over that. That's all. So that country faces the 6 to 7:30 only, there also comes. So initially there is Australia will get this effect. After Australia is moving front, the India will get it. So like that, as the globe is moving, it remains in the same zone, but this Rahukala is working on all the countries. So, but in the 6 to 7:30 only in all the countries.
Okay. So the same time in US also Rahukala will be same?
Yeah, that does not.
Okay.
Suppose the sunrise here is at 6 o'clock. Maybe Pakistan get the sunrise when we are having 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay, when we are having, because it is moving in front. It moves front, so that part comes there.
Okay.
That means Rahukala finds a movement, virtually it moves in a reverse direction. So Rahu's traveling is in reverse direction. As it moves there, so India is in 10 o'clock, maybe the Gulf country get the Rahu, something like that. As it moving, it continuously bestows effect over all the countries.
So if somebody in Gulf has to see about Rahu Kala, they have to plan as per their local time.
Their local time.
Not,
Here 6 to
not as per
7:30.
Indian local time.
Suppose today the 6:40 is, today is 6:38 or 37 is the sunrise time. From there it is 1.5 hour.
Okay.
Exactly 1.5 hour it is. All the states, all the countries. Whether it's America here, sunrise from there it is 1.5 hour on Monday.
But how does it change daily? I mean, in India, the Monday is this time, Tuesday it will be more.
As it rotates, the hora changes.
Okay.
When it comes to the Monday hora it starts from that same thing. Chandra hora starts. So